Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the Odious Soul. So I know it's been a while since I've done a garden video, and I do apologize. Someone emailed me yesterday and was like, so how's your garden doing? Oh my goodness. Well, as with all gardens, it's been having its ups and downs. So I thought I would do a quick little tour to show you how everything is doing, at least in the veggie portion. You can kind of see how my fall crops and some of the late things that I planted are doing. So come on, let's go look. All right, so the first thing, the peppers are still holding on incredibly strong. Green peppers have finally started being more prolific. The banana peppers are still insane. Jalapenos, same thing with those. It's like I can't even keep up. Like, look, like that. I need to come out here and pick as much as I can, probably later today. But I feel bad picking because I don't want to can anymore. I don't want to freeze anymore. So it's kind of like just pick what I can use or can give away. So, but they're still so amazing, so beautiful. I've recently just put some more food. I put a 10-10-10 on everything. So everything after that, with all the rain we've been having, looks pretty good. These were two very late tomato plants. I think these are both beefsteaks. Like you can see, they're starting to try to do something, but they're so tiny. I really don't expect them to do much. But with the other ones, which you will see in a moment, not looking so healthy, I was like, I'll just put them in the ground and see what happens. So I definitely, after all this rain, I definitely need to stake these. This is the one lone broccoli plant. It's still trying to hold on. But you can see definitely caterpillars have been loving all over it. So we'll see. Obviously, broccoli was not my thing. It's not going to be my thing for this fall. I actually just bought some pansies and other flowers at the garden center yesterday. So that was just a little basket. I threw some pansies in. I'm leaving it out here in the sun area just so it can get some life before I place it and hang it someplace. So here I had the mustard and the Swiss chard. The Swiss chard didn't really come up except for one little plant. And all of the mustard, except for this one, was consumed by caterpillars. Like these little green caterpillars and then the army caterpillars. Like it was just disastrous. So I pulled everything out and I reseeded it. Starting to see some of the mustard come back up, which is kind of cool. So I will probably put a net over here. I ordered a net, I think off of Amazon. So I'll create a little structure and net this so caterpillars don't ruin my life again. Now back here, on Monday evening, I planted all my little starts back here. Brussels sprouts, the red rhubarb, other Brussels sprouts. And you can see I only have 1, 2, 3 really hanging on. Everything else, oh, maybe that one right there. Everything else kind of did not survive. Maybe I didn't harden them off well enough. Maybe it was all the rain, whatever the case. Not having much luck with those. But again, first you don't succeed, try and try again. The beans, oh my goodness, I have a 5-pound bag of beans in the fridge that I need to cook. And you can see there's still tons of beans on here everywhere, just everywhere. So I know at the beginning of the season, if you go back to my earlier videos, I was like, I don't know, these aren't really doing anything. I don't know if I'll grow them again. Oh my goodness, now I'm at the point where I can't keep up, which is a good problem to have. It's good to have a problem where you have so much food you can't eat it all. So still, I mean, you can still see tons of Japanese beetle damage. There's a ton of dead leaves in here, but they're still just doing so amazing and producing so much food. It's just incredible. Here are the lettuces. So the Burpee Bib, the Grand Rapids, the red leaf. Oh no. Oh, it's never good to see big poop like that on your plants. Because that means there's something in here eating them. Oh, look at all that. Oh, where is the bad boy at? So there's something in here somewhere. Oh my goodness. just everywhere. Okay, so I pulled out the back because they were starting to get really tall and look like they wanted to go to seed, which is not a big deal because obviously I planted more seeds. Succession stowing when it comes to lettuces is really good because obviously you can't use all the lettuce all the time. So I still can't believe how much poop is in here. Oh my gosh, there is so much poop. Like, what in the world? All right, well, that's for another time. I only have one little spinach. I think I only had 2 that came up. I tore out the other one and then I did plant more spinach, so we'll see about that. I have 2 little zinnias that are still surviving back there, which still haven't flowered. But then the tomatoes. Okay, so this does not look as wild and crazy as it did earlier in the season. Cherry tomatoes are still producing faster than I can consume them, and I'm trying to keep them pruned as much as possible, which if you look at this, you're like, what? But at this point, I'm just coming in and trying to take off all the dead. Like anything that looks like this, I just come in and with my little clippers and I just try to take the bad stuff off. So I'm only leaving the good stuff. And that seems to help protect the vines themselves. And, you know, every once in a while, I'm still finding a hornworm, but it's random, not a lot. I usually don't see the damage. I usually see the poop, the hornworm poop. And then I find the hornworm very close to that. The beefsteaks and the celebrity hybrids, they look, I mean, the plants themselves look scarce and like they hardly have any leaves on them. And that's because they really are getting to that point where all the leaves are looking like this. So I just come in, trim off the worst of it every once in a while. But you can see they're still producing tons of tomatoes. Like they're everywhere. So doing what I can, and they're still doing what they can. They're still strong plants. They just don't have the leaves that they used to. So every plant still has at least 1 tomato on it. So not ripping them out anytime soon, letting them do their thing, and we'll keep going. Now over here, this was that big, beautiful cucumbers. I had 3, what were they called? Straight 8 cucumbers. And the downy mildew just got way too much on them. So I ripped them all out. Down here, I did plant some kale. I have a little baby kale here and a kale plant here. These were some of the ones I started inside, and you can see, we'll see if they make it. They look just like they're weeds, because weeds are out of control right now after heavy rain and days of rain. You know, the weeds just flourish as much as everything else does. So they're there. We'll see if they survive. And then this little thing of carrots is actually doing pretty well, for which ones survived. But look, I'm actually growing carrots. Whoops, growing some carrots. I'm so excited. Now they still have more time in here. Oh no. Look at what I found. Found a little caterpillar friend. Ah, he will devour everything. Oh no, there's a whole bunch of them. Well, but you know what? Pretty caterpillars like this, you either have to move them, and right now I have no dill. They've devoured all my dill before, so I have no dill to feed them. So maybe I'll just let them stay for a day or two before I make them move on. But the sunflower still remains the prettiest thing in my garden all season long. I mean, this thing just got massive. And if you remember, this was actually planted over at our fish pond, and my mother thought it was a weed and threw it in the fire pit. And when I noticed it, like the next day, I went to the fire pit, I pulled it out because it hadn't been burned yet, and I planted it in here because she doesn't touch my veggie garden. So I planted it in the back, and I'm so happy that I saved and rescued this plant because it's been amazing. So I do have 2 more sunflowers coming up. This is the latest. Isn't that just beautiful? Like, that is the color of fall to me right there. A little bit of red, a little bit of orange. And then I have this one, which is, ooh, just starting to open up, maybe. Yeah, so that one. My basil in this place here, I had to pull out the big basil that was here because it was getting that black spot. So all these little babies are getting it too. So these probably won't do anything. But I did plant this kale here to see how it does. This is the Beets Blue Curled Scotch. And this is probably one of the healthier ones that I have actually. And as you can see, the dill, even though it's pretty much been devoured, it is going to seed. Cilantro is pretty much done. Strawberries, can't wait for next year. I definitely got to get in here and weed some of this stuff out. And then, ta-da! So the arbor is not finished. We are creating an arbor for this grapevine to go over. But I wanted to go ahead and tear out this section just because I'm starting to plan for spring, and I want to start mapping out my beds, and I couldn't wait until this was done. So this will still be to be continued. We'll see what happens there. But these beans over here, and for those who remember, all the leaves from here like down were devoured by a groundhog. Well, the plants all came back. They're all producing tons of green beans over here too. I think these are all blue lakes over here. And then you can see we have some morning glories that have crept in here. I pulled a ton out from the grapevine actually, but I just can't pull it all there. Even though they're so invasive and they smother everything else, they're just so pretty, you know? So I might have let one or two survive and thrive. So, I mean, the other beans are doing so well. I don't necessarily need these to be okay, so they can just do their thing. So this tree here, it's a mulberry tree. It'll probably, I keep going back and forth. I might just try to keep trimming it up so we can walk under it and keep it very sparse, you know? Or I might just chop it down completely. But I love how the tree is grown around this post. To me, it just looks so cool. So still very iffy on what I'm actually going to do here. So to be determined. All right, so now you guys ready to talk about my crazy raised beds and the madness happening here? Now, the first thing I want to show you basically are these really cute sunflowers I got from the dollar store, $1 a piece. And I have 3 of them. It's so cute. I'm just gonna point that out because that's the happiest part of this whole raised bed experience. All right, so let's start on the happy end. This is the Swiss chard. It is doing phenomenal. It does have some occasional caterpillar damage, but nothing major. Actually, I grabbed a whole bunch last night, chopped it up, put it in with some chicken and sun-dried, or not sun-dried, just regular cherry tomatoes, and some cream and some mozzarella, garlic, salt, and pepper. It was amazing, just so good. So the Swiss chard finally doing well. The bright lights is definitely doing better than the green whatever it is variety. The dark green, Lucilis. Okay, so, but I mean, they're doing great. Happy, love them. Okay, so next we come to this crazy patch. So the Bok Choy got totally devoured by caterpillars, like just huge caterpillar damage. At one point I gave up trying to pick them off and kill them. And I was like, fine, just have them. The Bok Choy already started to go to seed. So I was like, okay, screw it. Go to seed. I did pick one last night that was actually not too bad. It was almost completely fully developed. So that got chopped up with the Swiss chard in my chicken dish, but I left the bottom because there was too much dirt to carry in. But so, I mean, just remember, like, caterpillar damage is not, I mean, you can still eat it. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. So I'm going to just let this do its thing, pick out what I can, and then let this go to seed and collect the seeds. And then I'm definitely going to plant another patch of this because I love bok choy. And if I can successfully grow it, probably under some nets, then that's what I'm going to do. And I don't know if you can see this. This is like a spider web that goes from that bamboo pole all the way to something that I can't see. But anyway, so I pulled out the two pepper plants from the aquaponics that I failed at. But I left these. These were the ones that started in the shade. and I moved over here because these are still doing great. Like, look at this green pepper. And it's beautiful. I need to come out here and pick peppers. I told you guys that. So those are, I let those stay for now. And then this little sad little patch. Like, you look at that end, which is just crazy. And you look at that end and you're like, what the heck? And maybe it is a matter of, I got the drip lines. They start down there and it is kind of slightly uphill. Maybe they just don't get enough water. Maybe it's the nutrients down here, who knows? But you can definitely tell that there's bug damage. You can even see like little tiny caterpillar poop. So we have the kohlrabi here and the golden beets, and they're just being decimated before they even have a chance to do anything. So I will definitely plant more as things get a little bit colder. Not in a rush to do it now. And I still want to see what they do, because you never know. So this tomato plant, this is the red cherry that produces the big, enormous cherry tomatoes. This is the one that I decapitated. And it's doing great. Like, look, it's actually got fruits and it looks healthy. And I've been keeping it super, super pruned because I don't have a lot of space for it to go crazy like that. So it is doing good, standing up, producing fruits. This one here, this one right here, this is the top that when it broke off of this one, I just stuck it right in the ground and it survived. And it too is producing fruit. And then this is a beefsteak, and I've, made sure to keep this one really small just because, again, raised bed and not a lot of room. And I've definitely decided next year I am not putting tomatoes in my raised beds. All my tomatoes will go along the garage for a couple reasons. For one, like at first I was like, man, it's hard to get to all the ones that are on the garage, like close to the garage, like to reach in. It's hard to dig, hard to prune. But realistically, when we have wind, and we don't get a whole lot of wind, but when we do, that garage helps add support and keeps those tomato plants from falling over. So definitely going to leave the tomatoes over there, and I will probably leave the peppers over there too. So I'll probably have the entire edge here full of nothing but peppers and tomatoes. That's probably what's going to be over there in that bed. I might flip them and do peppers on the side, or intermix them, do like tomato pepper, something like that. But I've definitely decided both the peppers and the tomatoes, since they've needed support this year, I'm going to give them the support against the garage next year too. It's a little bit harder to dig in and grab everything that's ripe, but it's okay because I would rather them be strong and stable than fall over and have issues. So something I didn't touch on when we were down here before is these radishes that have gone completely crazy. Oh, look, more caterpillar poop. Oh, everywhere I look, there's caterpillar poop. And oh, there is a shaggy soldier hiding in my radishes. Okay, so these are, what are these? The black spires or something. I have pulled a couple already that were huge, and oh, there's the culprit. Right there, look at him. Look at how big and fat he is. Look at him. This is why I wish I had chickens, because I would just throw them to my chickens. But anyway, so these radishes, they're like, I don't know if there's any like ready. Like they should all be black, and when I pulled them out, they were mostly like gray and white. And then we have the beets here, which just haven't done anything. So probably too hot for the beets. So I will definitely be planting more as it gets colder. Now down here, you will see a naked little T-post where a beautiful zucchini once stood. There was actually two. The one I got rid of, I don't even remember why I got rid of it. Was it board damage? Was it broken half? I don't even remember. But this one here, I took out recently because the way I had it trellised, when the storm came, it snapped in half. So I was like, oh, so that one's gone. In here, I've planted a bunch of cabbage starts that I had inside, and you can see they're not the happiest things in the world, are they? Like, oh, look, there's one that might actually make it. So obviously I have to work on my seed starting skills, but we already knew that. So next, look at this pathetic cucumber. I have had a heck of a time with downy mildew this year. Just all my cucumbers, and you'll see in a second, like the melons, just cucumbents, whatever they're called, just not good at all. So next year I'm definitely going to have to work on it. I'm going to see what I can do to maybe keep them more covered so they don't get their leaves wet. And then definitely start like melons and stuff early, because starting them late, even though I have cantaloupes on there, like there's just no leaves. Like, I don't know how they're going to get energy. So this I haven't taken off yet. I'm just like, screw it. It can just die. It can just do what its thing. Give me whatever cucumbers it wants, and then it can die. I'm just going to leave it for now, because I'm over it. I'm over picking the leaves and trying to make it healthy. So it's just what it is. Down here I have some radicchio, red chorizo. So that's what those are. I've never had it. Don't know what it tastes like. Don't know what it looks like. So, but you know, whatever. These are dragon tongue bush beans. And look, we actually got cute little beans starting. And aren't those flowers just absolutely beautiful? So we have 3 of the dragon tongue bush beans. Oh wait, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I started some lima beans too. So not sure how they'll do. First time with those. And then the peas, like I really thought these peas would get bigger, but they didn't. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna plant a whole bunch of little more peas in here, which I did. And they're all popping up. So super excited. Oh, and that's a weed that can come out. So hopefully I'll get enough peas. Like right now I've just been collecting a pod or 2 here and there and eating them while I'm out here. Haven't really been able to collect enough to make a meal. I've added them to other dishes, but definitely not enough to do a side dish on my own. And plus, who wants to actually pick the peas out of pea pods? Like, I don't have time for that. So over here, my sad melon trellis. We are down to just 4 cantaloupe. And this one is probably too small and too gross. It probably won't do anything. This one I'm hopeful for. I keep rotating it because there was a big one right here and the underside got super squishy, and then I literally poked my finger through it. It was so gross. These are the Kajari melons. I doubt I'll get any before frost, but we are starting to see some flowers. They mostly look like male flowers at this time, but hey, and then you can start to see signs of, you know, that horrible mildew. So, not happy, but oh well, you live and you learn, right? So here are the turnips, and look, more caterpillar poop. Yay, just what we always wanted. But if you get in here, you can see some turnips starting to form. So exciting. More carrots. Up. More of those caterpillars. Caterpillars everywhere right now. And these are the little guys that make what are they, black swallowtails or something. So I don't like hurting those guys. More radishes. Those are doing okay. These are a 4-season lettuce, which never grew before. Might still be too warm. I mean, it's a 4-season, it should be working. But honestly, I think like these leaves, I keep trimming back, and I think they just don't get enough sun, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with those. And then we have the ever abundant butter stick squash. So these things, I mean, like, look at how many freaking females are on it. Oh, we have one that didn't get, this one did not get pollinated. That's a pollination issue. So, but like you see this here, this is a female. You can tell because it's got the yellow down there. And it wants so bad to be pollinated. So I'm pulling off a male flower and I'm just going to, and this is terrible film editing here. All right, so I tore off the flower part. So now you just see this, like the little penis of the flower. And I am literally just going to take it in here and I'm going to just put it all around that. Get all the pollen in there. Yeah. Okay, exciting, right? So I am literally just pollinating this plant. So I'm gonna do the same thing. There's another female one over here. Gonna do the same thing. Just going to get all the juices. Oh, there's another female, so I'm gonna do it again. And one warning I will give you is always check to make sure there are no bees in the flowers when you do this. I have occasionally gone to do this and there's a bee in there, so obviously I don't want to interrupt the bee while he's doing his thing. So, all right, so that's 3 that I know are pollinated. And look, there's one that could probably come off right now, actually. The butterstick variety do best when they're small like this. They taste amazing, and I love them. So good, so prolific. Butterstick squash from Burpee. Go, get the seeds, you'll thank me. All right, guys, well, that's a quick little tour. Of course, I have other stuff growing around here, but that's like the main garden. I think right now it's more of just planning what next year is gonna look like. I have so many seeds, I have so much I'm gonna grow. And obviously I've had some fails this year, so definitely gonna be planning on how I can do it better next year. We'll probably have raised beds right in here, probably only like short, like 10, 12 inches, not the 18 inches like these, but just more shorter. And maybe I'll put the melons in there. Maybe I'll put the melons someplace else. I've also, like, that's our burn barrel right back here with the island. I definitely want to do something maybe in here, whether it's to cut flowers, thinking about doing a huge sunflower patch. You know, I don't think I'm going to do potatoes, onions, garlic yet. I want to get better at the other stuff first. So, not planning on doing those things. And I don't know. I feel like if I am going to do potatoes or onions or anything like that, I want to do like a no dig method where like I kind of build up the soil instead of doing a tilled. And I just don't have that kind of dirt. And I don't necessarily want to go buy the dirt. My compost, like, which is in one of those things, which is somewhere right behind there. It's amazing how much I put in there and it just keeps, you know, shrinking down. So I'm definitely not going to have enough to do a no-till garden back there. Plus I have some alien bulbs coming, and I need dirt to make a bed for those. I'm going to do that probably between the fish pond and the fire pit. So not only am I working on my food stuff, I am looking on trying to make things prettier. So hopefully I'll give you a full yard tour after this weekend. I have a lot of weeding and a lot of work to do. But, oh, good to show you one more thing real fast. Come over here. All right, so look at all this, like all this right here. That's all volunteer sunflowers. Why? Because I have the bird feeder up there. It's amazing. Like, I really want to get more bird feeders, and because it's amazing how the bird feeders so many volunteer sunflowers, and it is so much fun to just see them pop up. And they've been all different kinds of varieties. It's not just one, so that's been exciting. Oh, let me show you one more thing. How many times am I going to say that? All right, so in this, I planted parsley and zinnias. So the zinnias are actually starting to come up. So starting to flower, can't wait for them to open. Parsley is actually coming up too, but just for comparison, that one is in full sun. well, pretty much full sun, gets at least 6 hours a day. This one does not get, it gets more shade, it gets like morning sun, and look at how leggy they are. So literally they are not that far apart, but that just shows you, and I say it over and over again, just shows you how much sun really matters in the growth of your plants. If your plants aren't growing fast enough, if they're stunted, are they getting enough sun? All right, well, anyway, I have to go get to work. So thank you so much for watching and joining me in my journeys. And as always, there's more to come, so stay tuned.